What up, everybody? Austin Bonjour here, sitting in this nitro boat. Just got it wiped down and cleaned up after a 3 tournament.
Oh, could be that third.
Yeah, you heard that right. 3 of them, back to back to back. It's been pretty wild. We had a ton of fun the last few weeks. Doesn't even feel like I've been home or at work or any of that. Well, obviously, because I haven't been fishing. It's been a lot of fun. Just wanted to jump on here real quick and give you guys a recap on how we did it. So first off, we were at the California Delta for stop number 4 of the Bass Angler Magazine Pro Tour. We had a lot of fun at that event. It was the last regular season event, a lot on the line for us. We were trying to qualify for the championship at Clear Lake here in a few weeks, in the middle of November, November 14th through the 16th, I believe, which we were able to do that. That was our main goal, to make a check. You know, obviously you want to win every tournament, but small goals here. wanted to make a check and qualify for the championship, and if anything happened that was better than that, placings wise, we would have taken it. But we did exactly what we set out for. We cashed a check. I think we finished 14th in that event, and we punched our ticket to the championship here in a couple weeks. Hats off to Bryant Smith at the Cal Delta. He was the one that won that event. Guy's just a monster. He's winning all over the western United States. I mean, he's won everywhere, but he's been on a real tear the last handful of years, so it's really cool to watch him do the things that he's doing. Real inspiring when you sit back and watch it. So hopefully we can kind of accomplish some of the things he's done in the following years to come. So congrats again to you and your family. That was rad. At the California Delta, like I said earlier, we finished 14th place. Day 1 with BAM Super 60. We don't know anything about the fishery, really. We're in a 30-day off limits, no practice. We all show up, launch, and go practice in the tournament, essentially. And I kind of kept my game plan pretty simple. Stayed Central Delta, Frank's Track, ran around in there, had a solid day 1, had me somewhere in the middle of the pack. After day 1, I had a good conversation with my roommates, Randy and Mason. They're a father-son team. They kind of threw me a bone on what they were doing in an area of the Delta. The Delta's massive if you've never been there. I mean, thousands of miles of water. This massive area, Northern Delta, they kind of gave me a few of the little pieces of the puzzle. I ran into that area throwing a buzzbait like I did the day prior, kind of starting day 2 how I left off on day 1. Had a few big blow-ups that missed the buzzbait. The tide was still going out and then bottoming and then gonna come in, if I remember correctly. So that little bit of outgo tide, they were biting the buzzbait but not committing to it. As soon as it got dead low, I noticed a bunch of vegetation. No secret on the Delta, you know, a punching setup will get it done most of the time for big fish and keepers. This is a Stealth Sticks peg leg, a Shimano Corrado 65-pound braid, 1.25 ounce tungsten weight, no punch skirt, and a Pit Boss. I kind of alternated a handful of baits on that hook. That's a 3.0 Gamakatsu straight shank flipping hook. And from Flappin' Hogs, Yamamoto Flappin' Hogs, a Pit Boss, kind of whatever I had that was in that reddish color, that reddish Delta color. And we punched all day long. We had a ton of fish. We almost made the top 10 in keepers. I think we had like 30 pounds for 2 days and quite a few keepers. We almost made the final day in keepers. We finished 14th, cashed a good check, and that was our Delta event. So right after the Delta event, after day 2 of that event, we got our check, hit the road with Mason Maccabee, headed over to their house, crashed at their house. It was I think 4 or 5 hours from the Delta to get to their house, and got there late, crashed, met my dad in the morning that next day, and he drove over to Mason's. He was fishing with me in the next event that we were going to, which was the WON Bass US Open, and my dad was fishing as a AAA. We got my dad's rods and reels loaded up in the truck, and we hit the road. We drove from Bakersfield, California to Laughlin, Nevada, or Bullhead, Arizona, however you want to break it down. We drove to Lake Mojave, and we got there the day before the event. We got there on sponsor road day on Sunday. No practice for the event. We were fishing the Delta, so we had to haul butt straight to the US Open and get to the Airbnb where my good friends Dan, Pat, Scott, their families, Dom, Dane, Chad, everybody was there. Hanging out, and we all kind of got ready. I had to get rid of the punch rods and the frogs and the buzz baits and square bills and get ready to catch some Lake Mojave smallmouth. So we got rigged and ready, jumped into the event over there at Catherine's Landing. Like always, Billy from WON Bass runs a awesome show, especially for the US Open. It's gaining more and more traction. You're getting a lot of those top level pros coming over and fishing with us in the fall for that prestigious event. And we were excited. We were ready to roll, ready to rip. I've had some decent success on that fishery in the past. And I kind of knew what I was going to do, what I was going to throw, how I was going to fish the lake, but I didn't know where they were at. So I had to run a ton of water and that mercury right there, burning a ton of gas, bouncing from shallow deep, trying to figure out what mood or stage these smallmouth bass were in. We were getting bites from shallow and deep, and I was just trying to kind of hone in on what they were doing this time around with no practice. But the technique and baits that are the same year in, year out for those smallmouth, it's pretty simple. You just need a weight, a hook, and some line, and a good rod and reel. This is a StealthSticks prototype. We call it the Skinny Scott or the Little Scott. Scott Hillison's baby. It's a 7.6, like medium light. You got a Gamakatsu #1 split shot drop shot on there. About a 12 to 14 inch leader and a 3/8 ounce tungsten teardrop weight on there. Daiwa Tatula. Some, I believe this is 18 pound Seaguar Pex braid, which that is 18 pound. This stuff's amazing. Ultra thin, ultra smooth. And we had some Tatsu leader on there. It wasn't 12 pound. I had lighter Tatsu on there. Yeah, soft subject. Had that lighter fluorocarbon on, some 6 pound test, and ended up losing a couple key fish on that 6 pound test. So basically learned to not throw 6 pound tests for those big smallmouth. You don't need it. So this spool is 12 pound Tatsu, and 10 and 12 is probably what we'll have rigged up years to come for the US Open for sure. But a drop shot, various baits, shallow and deep, and we ended up finishing 28th place out of 170 pros. That's actually my worst US Open finish in a long time, especially at Mojave. So we're stoked to have it. A nice, $3,000 check, cash into the bank to keep the momentum rolling forward. But gosh dang it, you just can't, when you're only getting 6, 7, 8 bites a day, you can't lose them. And unfortunately we did. We broke off a couple really key fish the second day. The first day we lost one good one that would have been about a 3.5 pound coal. when you're weighing in one 13-inch bass, you really can't miss your opportunities at Mojave or any of the Colorado River lakes for the matter. It was a 2-day event. They shortened it to 2 days because day 2 got canceled, so that would have been day 2. So it was a day 1 and day 3 event, and we had basically identical bags, 14 3/4 pounds each day. And that was good enough for 28th, a check, and to keep the wheels moving to La Crosse. And then we go to La Crosse, Wisconsin. We, gosh, what a beautiful place. Beautiful fishery, beautiful town. I would love to go back there. I kind of wish we could go back there at the same time of the year, every year, because we learned so much. First time there in the fall, lower river. The water level was low. When I mean lower river, the levels were lower. The water was getting colder and colder by the day. Everything moves so much faster in the north. We showed up 60-degree water temperature our first day of practice. By the last day of the tournament, we had 49 to 50-degree water temperature. Just shows you how fast it goes from summer, fall, and right into winter up there. And the fish were getting more and more grouped up. They were getting tighter and tighter on some of the places I had found them. And gosh dang, I wish I could go back up there next year at the same time. That's the only downfall of those national championships. They alternate the lakes around the same time of the year, but they alternate them, the rivers and lakes that they go to. So always kind of keeps you on your toes. So being from California, it's I think we drove 4,500 miles round trip. Never been there before. It's kind of hard to go pre-practice these venues that they go to. So a couple years ago when we fished at Hartwell, it was a little further than that. I think it was 5,000 miles round trip, and same thing. Like, I wish I could go to Hartwell in October. I wish I could go back to La Crosse in October. Not gonna happen, but it's what I wish I could do. We had a ton of fun up there. Had my family, dad, my wife, my dog, my daughters. We loaded up the Chevy truck. Which is right over there. And we drove to La Crosse, Wisconsin for our second time. The second time we loaded up the whole family and headed east. So pretty exciting, pretty fun. And yeah, we had a solid finish up there. I think we finished 22nd out of 250 or 260. Solid finish, proud of it. Again, cash a check, but the ultimate goal was to be in that top 3 to make the Bassmaster National Championship, which we did not do that. So maybe we can do that in a couple years from now, qualify for the national championship again, and go hold down one of those top 3 spots to make a classic. The baits we used up there was all over the map from never being there before. We showed up, covered a ton of water. Ultimately, what I figured out for me was wing dams right off the main river, and we utilized a Stealth Sticks Little Pete right here, a Daiwa Regal. This is a Little Pete, really good minnow rod, and that's what we were shaking. We were shaking a Scented Jerk Shad 5-inch with a Garage Tech 16th ounce head. It's got a Gamakatsu hook in there, and we got a loop knot, if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. My buddy Pat will tell you that doesn't matter, but to me, I like the loop knot. Using, again, 18-pound Seaguar PEX braid to 15-pound. They're not very line shy on the river, so all my spinning rod stuff up there was 15-pound Invisex. I did throw a little bit of 12-pound. That's why I have this out. Did throw a little bit of Tatsu 12, but 12 and 15, honestly, I think you could have had straight braid on there. Water clarity was kind of dirty. They weren't very line shy at all. You just had to put it in front of one that was active. So we were shaking a minnow on those wing dams. The smallmouth were getting kind of grouped up, and I learned more and more every single day on the areas that I was fishing. Mainly one particular area, and I learned with 260 boats out there, really hard to move around on that spot. By the third day, when we made the top 40, there was only 2 guys continuing to share that spot with me, and they were really cool. Everybody was really cool, but it's just hard to fish the spot with guys zigzagging between you. And me never being there before, I didn't have enough spots to run. But by the final day, when the top 10 was out there, me and my dad went out, and I mean, we smashed them. We had 18.6 on the Bubba, a bunch of 3-pounders, couple 4-pounders. It was insane. We just went out for like 2 hours and fished that same spot and absolutely reeled them in. We caught them on Carolina rigs, caught some fish on Ned rigs also, but the main deal was this Little Pete StealthStix, that Daiwa Regal for 69 bucks. If you don't believe me, listen to Matt Pangrac on Bass Talk Live. He loves them too. For $69, it's pretty hard to beat that reel. And scented jerk shad, the deal, literally, the deal. Loop knot, pretty simple. What led us to that pattern in practice, covering a ton of water, we got a StealthStix 2 fathoms here. It's one of their crankbait rods. I was throwing a Berkley Fritz sight on there, white in color with a little bit of a blue back, purplish hue to the sides. I don't know if you can really see, but that thing is actually had a Sharpie that eye in. The eye came out. They were destroying that bait on the shallower parts of the wing dams. And by the time the tournament came around, I think a lot of guys were on that shallow bite of the wing dams, and the pressure in the colder water tightened those fish up and pulled them on the down current side of some of those wing dams. But that's what helped me locate a lot of the fish I ended up catching on the minnow. And this rod is bad to the bone. For a Fritz side to a rock crawler, it is awesome. So you can check them out, hopefully at Jim's Pro Bass in a few months, hopefully. But they do have them at Tackle Warehouse, and you can order them directly from StealthStix.com. Carbon fiber handles, super light. Thing's bad. Fritz side, you know, I'm not sponsored by Berkley, but that thing is bad to the bone also. Got some Gamakatsu trebles on there, of course. Some Seagar 15-pound Invisex on there. Let it rip. So that was, in a nutshell, what we did for those 3 tournaments. Had a ton of fun. We have 1 more to go at Clear Lake in a couple weeks. We're gonna go fish for a Bass Cat boat. 1 out of 33 is our odds. I think there's 33 competitors or 34 that made it to that championship. So really like my odds. Some of the best fishermen in the entire West Coast, but 33 guys for a boat. So like my odds there. We're gonna go give it our all. And thanks for following along, guys. Thanks for all the messages. Thanks to Anglers Marine, this Nitro Mercury, the trailer. We put like 4,500 miles of lacrosse, and another, I don't know, 1,000 or so from Mojave and the Delta. Probably more than that, 1,500. Trailer's been flawless. The motor's been flawless. My Humminbirds, flawless. That 16-inch Garmin up there, which was huge at lacrosse, the 163 thing was flawless. Anglers Marine, they know what they're doing when they're rigging these boats out. So we're pumped. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.